Good morning, Mizzou fans. Gabe DeArmond coming to you from the lovely Hilton Garden Inn in Wichita, Kansas, just a few hundred yards from where Missouri and Drake will play on Thursday night in the first round of the NCAA tournament. This is PM in the AM for March 19th, Wednesday morning. Want to remind you before we get into today's topic that we're brought to you every day by our friends at Cornerstone Family Medicine. You can check them out online at cornerstonefmclinic.com. If you want to avoid high deductibles, expensive insurance, or if you just need to see a doctor and you can't get into yours, they're available 24/7 online. Plenty of different options. They're going to get you in to see a provider the same day or the next day. So check them out at cornerstonefmclinic.com. I know I teased the Mizzou Drake game, and we will have wall-to-wall coverage of that for the next 36 hours or so. But we have broken that game down every way we can. The press conferences aren't until this afternoon. So after we talk to Dennis Gates and Ben McCollum and some of the players, we will have more to say. But I can't think of any other things to say about that game. So we're going to talk about what happened yesterday, and that is Mizzou hiring Kellie Harper to coach the women's basketball program. Kellie Harper has been a head coach for about 20 years, started at Western Carolina, went to NC State, went back to Missouri State, and then to the University of Tennessee. Two ways to look at this hire, in my opinion, and I don't know which one is right. We will eventually find out. Kellie Harper's most recent job was at the University of Tennessee, which is one of the two best women's basketball programs, of the last 45 years or so, since women's basketball really became a championship sport in the NCAA. Whether it's Tennessee or UConn is up for debate at this point. Probably most people would say UConn, but Tennessee's right there. Pat Summitt built that program. Kellie Harper did not take over directly for Pat Summitt, but, followed fairly soon thereafter. She won 20 games. She went to the NCAA tournament 4 times in 5 years, would have gone 5, except COVID canceled the 5th one. She went to 2 Sweet 16s. She never finished worse than 4th in the SEC. She did that record is good. The problem is when it's at Tennessee, it is not good enough. Most people say that the reason Tennessee moved on was that the administration did not believe she was recruiting at a level that could sustain Tennessee at the level it expects to be in women's basketball. So there's 2 ways to look at her hiring at Missouri. Number one, if she does at Missouri what she did in Knoxville, that is a perennial NCAA tournament team, every now and then making a run to the Sweet 16, averaging 20 wins a year, 21 wins a year. She's the best coach in program history, and they might name things after her in Columbia. The other way to look at it is if her ceiling in Knoxville was the Sweet 16 and 3rd in the SEC, which it was, then realistically that ceiling is probably quite a bit lower at Missouri. Eventually, your goal is to obviously raise the level of the program to where it reaches what Tennessee is and was. That's not realistic right now. The goal here is to just raise the floor. Go from really bad to be in the mix for the tournament. Get into the middle of the SEC. And I know fans don't want to hear that. Fans want to hear, hey, our goal is to win titles. And that's great. At some point, that can be Missouri's goal in women's basketball. It's not right now. Is Kellie Harper the person that can eventually get them there? I honestly have no idea. Again, I think both ways of looking at this hire are fair. Either, hey, we've got somebody who doesn't have a huge ceiling, or we've got somebody who is more successful than anybody we've had, so let's give it a shot. We'll find out in a few years which one is true. But Kellie Harper's hire, I think, raises the floor of this program. And the goal right now for Missouri is simply get back to respectable. You got to walk before you can run. And Missouri women's basketball is nowhere near running at this point in time. So I would anticipate Kellie Harper has an introductory press conference next week. Monday would make sense. It's the only day anybody is going to be back there for sure to cover it. So I would assume that is when Missouri will set things up, and you guys can actually hear from Mizzou's new coach. Again, we're going to cover every angle of Mizzou and Drake here from Wichita, but kind of wanted to touch on another topic here this morning. Appreciate you tuning in. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned on Power Mizzou. Drew King and I, full coverage from Wichita coming your way.